welcome. First topic today, Nicky. eCircle Academy has been around since 2014, I believe, helping coaches and consultants build authority. What was the initial spark or vision that led you to create this?
That's a great question. It actually all goes back to my childhood as a young boy in Tehran, Iran, because I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran.
One of my best friends is from Iran.
Well, there you go. So I was 11 years old and the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran, and there was literally gun battles in the streets near my home.
Wow.
And my mom and dad are like looking around going, whoa, this is not cool. And then one day, someone tosses a Molotov cocktail through our living room window, smashing the glass, and it lands next to my feet. And I'm 11, right? I don't know what the hell this thing is, but my dad instantly recognizes it, jumps, grabs the thing, and pulls out the wick. Now, if he hadn't done that, that thing would have probably exploded and you and I wouldn't be talking today, right?
Oh, wow.
So after that, mom and dad said, this ain't a place to raise a Christian family. We're out of here. And it took them a couple years, but they got me and my two brothers packed up and out of Tehran. First, we went to Athens, Greece, the capital of that great and ancient civilization. And then from there, it took us 2 more years to go through the immigration process and get ourselves accepted as landed immigrants in Toronto, Canada, where I now live. Now, Robert, you got to understand that. I'm sure you can appreciate I was a kid. I didn't want to leave my home or my friends. And
I get that.
I was not happy. But as time went on, I could start to see the nobility of my mom and dad's sacrifice. They left behind everything and everyone they knew for a chance at a better life for me and my two brothers. And I
You're lucky
started
to
to
have them.
see, yeah, extremely lucky. I started to see freedom is the number one value for every human being alive. All human beings yearn to breathe free. They want to march to their own tune. They want to chart their own course. And if you're an entrepreneur, Robert, freedom is everything for you. Without freedom, you can't have free thought. Without free thought, there's no free expression. Without free expression, there's no free enterprise. And then we're living in this dystopian socialist nightmare, like crazy people on the extreme left, like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and her like, want us to live in. And that has everyone go down, right? And I just started to see, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing, right? We live in a free society. And I started to devour books on freedom. I read Ayn Rand. I read The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. I started to get excited about people like Milton Friedman, who wrote great books like Capitalism and Freedom. I started to get excited about people like Murray Rothbard and Friedrich Hayek. And I started to look at all these amazing titans of business, right? Guys like John D. Rockefeller, although he's got his issues, guys like Thomas Edison, right. And later on, people like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. And I saw that these people, because of the vision that they had of their dreams, they drove the human race forward. And my own father was an entrepreneur, and Robert, the best and greatest man I ever knew. Dad was the kind of guy that if you knew him and you were looking for work, brother, he would sit you down in his office. He'd call all his buddies. He'd ethically manipulate them till one of them gave you a job. And if you were trying to start a business, he'd sit you down in his office, listen to you, give you his best ideas, give you his best network connections to get you capital, to get you clients. And if you're trying to buy a car or house and the bank would only give you so much, back in Iran in those days, that happened a lot. You needed an extra 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10, 20,000 or more. You go to my dad and you go, Mr. Billou, I need some extra money to buy this car, this house. He'd say, how much do you need? You'd say 5,000, 10,000, whatever it was. He'd write you a check, give it to you so you could go buy that car or house. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years later, you'd come and you tried to pay him back. And he said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm paying you back. And he says, no, that was a gift. You go, no, it was a loan. It's not a gift. That's too much money for a gift. And he said, don't insult me. And then people would go, okay, I don't want to insult you. He said, so what am I going to do with this money? You know what he'd say to them? He'd say, find someone who's as badly off as you were when you came to see me and give it to them. And
that gift that keeps on giving.
Right. Like the Pay It Forward, like that great movie with Kevin Spacey back in the day. And I
Yeah.
tell this to people all the time. And there's people who go, wow, that's amazing. And there's other people who get cynical and go, Nicky, that's BS. Nobody does that. And I said, no, man,
Yeah.
my dad did that. Why would he do that? What's in it for him in this cynical secular age? And I said, well, first and foremost, he was a devout and committed Christian. He believed he'd been blessed by God Almighty and his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and it was his duty to share those blessings with other people. That's number one. And he took his faith very seriously, even though he didn't take himself very seriously. And the second reason was he was rich. And I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to help entrepreneurs. That's why I got into the business of serving entrepreneurs. I got into the coaching business, the leadership business, the growth business. And every day I look forward and I see my dad's passed away. He passed away on February 23rd, 2020. Okay. Just before COVID hit. And my girlfriend says he had this torch, the Billou torch of belief in his fellow man. He passed it to you. And it's your job to grab that torch, hold it aloft high, and run forward and believe in people and see how those that have big dreams and big visions, but maybe they've lost faith in themselves. Maybe they've been somebody who life has beat them down. Maybe someone like you let them down. Your job is to take that torch of belief, restore their faith in humanity, send them off into the races. So I got into the business of being of service to the entrepreneur as a means of like honoring my father, honoring the great men and women that have helped keep freedom going for us, like the late great Charlie Kirk, who was just shot and killed for believing in free expression and free dialogue, and to share my vision of 1 billion multimillionaires. I'm going to help create 1 billion multimillionaires so that we create this huge constituency for free enterprise, this huge constituency for family, so that the forces of darkness and evil socialism will once and for all be defeated and destroyed, and there will be a golden age of love and light here on this earth. That's what has me do what I do, Brother Robert.
That's an awesome, awesome goal. People ask me all the time, if you won the lottery, what would you do with that money? I would help disadvantaged. I have a special place in my heart for the U.S. military, a special place in my heart for disadvantaged children. And that's exactly what I would do. And this is what
Amen.
and that's what I do, as much as I can. So,
Amen.
Yeah, it's the way, it's the way society should be. Next, you emphasize authority-based business growth. Can you unpack what truly means for a service-based entrepreneur and why it is so crucial in today's market for standing out and increasing revenue?
That's a great question. So the great Matt Church, founder of Thought Leaders Global, once said, an expert is someone who knows something, and a thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. Experts are a dime a dozen, and thought leaders are rare and valuable. So in this day and age, okay, where there is so much noise, people are craving authenticity. People are craving honesty, right? And there are those of us who have lived lives where we've learned a lot. And what we've learned is valuable to help our fellow man win at whatever ails them. There's those of us that have learned so much that they can help people with health related issues, be they physical or mental health. There's those of us who've learned so much that they can help people with relationship issues, right? Be it fixing a bad relationship, powerfully ending a relationship so it doesn't destroy both parties if that's the way it needs to go, or even starting a relationship. And there are those of us who have learned how to help people make money, how to grow their wealth, how to win in life. And that's the truth. That's the truth, right? So what we're all about is helping good men and women with that level of expertise be able to help people and then make a lot of money doing it. Because Robert, a lot of people today just forget about that part, that, hey man, making money is good. Money is good. One of my mentors said this to me when I was 21 years old. Money is good. And I'm like, yeah, money is good, man. Money helps us win. Money helps us rock. I had a client a little while ago, Robert, At the time I met him, he was 57. Okay. This was back in 2018. This was a
Mm-hmm.
really good dude, right? Phenomenal guy. He had been a executive vice president at a manufacturing concern here in my home province of Ontario in Canada. And man, this dude was a rock star. But you know what? He burnt out. He was working 50, 60 hours a week every week. And he quit. He decided to become a business coach. And he loved being a business coach, except for one thing. His income dropped from 350,000 a year to 70,000 a year. That's a big haircut. Would you agree?
Oh yeah,
That's a
that's
big
huge.
haircut, right?
Yeah, it's
So
huge.
he comes to me going, I hear you help people who are coaches make money. Can you help me? Because, I need to recover that money. I just need
Yeah.
to. And I said, yeah, man, of course I will. And I said to him, brother, so tell me what you do. And he said to me, and let me just show you something. He said to me, well, I'm like a business coach. I can help anybody with any business problem. And as soon as he said that, I thought to myself, bro, like, no, this is why you're failing, because you're trying to be all things to all people, right? You're nothing to nobody. You don't stand out. There's no reason to work with you. He says, well, how do I fix that? And I walked him through my ideal client model process. So what's this all about? I said, who are the people you've gotten the best results for? Make a list. He did. Who are the people you've enjoyed working with the most? Make a list. He did. Who are the people that were easy to do business with? Make a list. He did. And by this, I mean, when you say the price is 25,000, they don't dicker. They pay you right
Sure.
away. They give you lots of
Yeah.
referrals versus those people
Yeah.
who just, oh my God, it's too much, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Easy to
Yeah.
do business with, right? And I said, you got those 3 lists? He goes, oh yeah, I got them. I said, who's on all 3 lists? That was
No
a
one.
smaller subset, right?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, great. What do they all have in common? So he said, ooh, really smart, Nicky, really smart. Not just another pretty face, you're Nicky, bro. And then he said, all right, I got it. He said, they're almost all men. Go good. They're almost all over the age of 40. So good. And the majority are solo practitioner law firms. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, solo practitioner law firm. And I said, so what's their problem? He said, well, they wanted to grow their practice. They're like, they thought, they weren't making as much money as they wanted to. They wanted to make like, maybe they were making 500 a year. They wanted to make 3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, good. I said, let me ask you a question. Were you good at delivering for these guys? He goes, oh, yeah, yeah. I said, all right, all your messaging is going to be aimed at these men who are solo practitioner lawyers under $1 million a year who want to go to at least 3 million a year. He said, okay, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. So this is the ideal client model exercise that we walked him through, right? You like this, eh,
Yeah.
Robert? It's pretty cool, eh? It's
It
pretty cool.
is. It is.
So
Yeah.
um, all of a sudden, within 6 months, so remember, 70,000 a year, that's just under 6 grand a month, right? 70,000 a year. So within 6 months, man, he had his first 40K month. Month 7, he's like 50K. In month 8, he goes like 56K. And then he's like, I wonder if I could do 100K a month. And he got to 100K a month for a couple of months, but he said, whoa, this is too much work. I'm good with 50K. At 50K, I'm working the hours I like. I'm still making lots of money. So, Robert, 50K a month is 600 grand a year. Okay. So he's making 600 grand a year. He was
From
making 70,
70 to 600 grand a
600,
year in less than a
right?
year.
Which is almost tenfold, right? Just
Yeah.
almost tenfold. It's like eightfold, something like that. Eightfold, yeah, almost ninefold. Yeah, so 60 grand. So if you multiply 7 by like 9, that's 63, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
630,000. So he's just under a ninefold increase in his business, right? And here's what's a little bittersweet about Carl's story. So unfortunately, like, Carl contracted cancer, and it was an aggressive
Oh,
form of pancreatic cancer, and he died in the summer of
that's
2022.
that's the nail in the coffin right there, man.
Horrible,
You get
right?
any cancer, Any cancer, that's the worst you can get.
That was really bad. But I'm going to tell you, Carl's last 4 years on planet Earth were beautiful years for him. He was doing what he loved. He was making a lot of money, and he also had plenty of time to enjoy that money. So he made an impact on people in a positive way. And when people ask me, they go, "Man, it's horrible. This fellow passed away." I go, "What would have been worse? For him to pass away struggling, unhappy that he hadn't made the difference he was born to make, or for him to have lived those last few years fully used up by life?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
And again,
So
to talk about,
He's fortunate he got that time. He's
yeah,
fortunate he achieved that amount of success in such a short period of time too.
he is. He is. But you look again to talk about the late great Charlie Kirk. Charlie was only 31 years old when he was assassinated, right? And people
Yeah,
go, "Man, it's horrible." And it is horrible. There's no two ways about it. It's absolutely horrible for his family. But in those 31 years, that man lived. That
he did.
man
He
lived.
also
He
he
made a
also
difference.
grew that. He also grew Turning Point USA to over an $80 million company
He did. He did.
per
And
year. So
it's about to be 10 times as big. You
yeah,
know,
exactly,
it's about to be a
exactly.
billion-dollar organization, I think, in the next few years. But
Yeah,
the point I'm trying to make is you never know how much time you got left. You
yeah,
never know. You know, I was watching his memorial yesterday, and they showed footage of him in the car just minutes before he got shot. And you don't know when the Lord is going to take you back home to heaven. So while you're here, make the most of what you got, and like go play full out,
yes,
full out.
yep. I agree. I agree because you do not know what's here today is not guaranteed to be here tomorrow.
Not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all, Robert.
No. Well, you kind of, you answered my next question with that story, and thank you for that. That's kind of heart touching. That story. So happy for him and his family.
Amen.
Next, beyond the workshops and coaching, eCircle also fosters a strong network of like-minded professionals. How
Yes.
important is that community to the overall success and growth of your members?
I think it's everything, brother. So there's a woman who's a member of our community right now, and her name is Courtney, and she coaches executives that are one or two levels below the C suite in like the Fortune 100, right?
Okay.
And what she helps them do, these are folks who've been stuck on a plateau in their career, and she helps them get unstuck and either in the same company or in a new company. She just really helps them do that.
Mhm.
Courtney is a brilliant, an amazing woman. Okay. Like I love Courtney to pieces. Left to her own devices, her chattering monkeys will get her to quote unquote piss in her Cheerios rather than, put milk in them, as it were.
Right,
Right.
right, 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 right.
And
Yeah. It's a good analogy. I like that.
it's good. It's not mine. Someone else came up with it, but I like to use it. So, um, Courtney's been with us for a year and a bit, and she started with us. She got some really good success. She actually had some months where she was like over 80K, and she had this tendency for a while to just like kind of coast after some really good months, right?
Right.
But the fact that she was, and in a couple of her months just weren't as good anymore, and then she had a couple of months where she made very little. In one month, I think she made nothing. And
Ugh.
we sat with her, and because she was very open about it in the community. We sat with her and we said, "What's going on?" And she just told us her story, and we just listened, right? Because sometimes people just need you to listen. And once she was done, I said, are you ready for a way to fix this? She goes, absolutely. I said, look, this mentality of pissing in your Cheerios is what's causing all this. So let's be done with that. Okay. Let's completely be done with this pissing in your Cheerios BS. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to sit down and we're going to have you focus on what's going to have you win. She says, well, what's going to have me win? I said, look, you need to focus on these two trainings, these three trainings we have. One's on having your mindset be high. The second is on how to have a sales conversation. And the third is on how to overcome objections. And they're all full of a lot of good technical stuff, but a lot of positive mindset enhancing stuff. And I said to her, and I challenge everyone else in the community, you guys listen to these for 30 days straight, at least one of these trainings a day. Anyways, well, Courtney did that. She took it on. Within 3 weeks, she started signing up clients again. In August, she was at 66K, right? And in September, she's done over 30K so far, which is phenomenal. This would not have happened without her being part of this community, because the community had other people that were doing this. So they all were like a little bit accountable to each other. But it also made her see, like, look, you know what? I need to be around people that are going after things I'm going after. And maybe they're winning more than I'm winning a little bit, because that'll inspire me to do the same. If you're around people that are dragging your thinking down, they'll drag your results down too. Know what I'm saying, Robert? And
No,
that was what
you
was
have to
beautiful
surround
about Courtney.
yourself with like-minded people
You do.
at a
And we
minimum.
curate that. We curate
Yeah.
that. Like everyone in our group, like we don't have any a-holes in our group. They're all nice people. They're all good people. But everyone in our group's a real expert and they all want to succeed. And they're all succeeding at different and various levels, right? But they are succeeding. And that success becomes possible, Robert, because they're part of a group. You know, one of my
Well,
mentors, Mark von Muster, talks about
it
the
becomes
egregore
contagious
energy.
too.
Yeah, exactly. That's an energy, the egregore energy, that basically has the whole be greater than the sum of its parts when it comes to a group. And that's what makes success contagious.
Yeah.
So, you know, I believe very strongly in being part of groups and in curating groups.
All right. No, it's important because multiple minds are better than one mind, right? And you start working by yourself, you start forming your own ideas, you start going down rabbit holes that maybe if you were part of a community, you would realize that that's probably not a good direction to take, right?
Exactly.
And people who are good listeners far outpace people who think they're the smartest person in the room. That's my
Amen, brother.
experience. So, what, and I think I know the answer to this, but what is eCircle doing the best right now?
That's a great
Out of
question.
everything you do, what are you doing the best right now? And
That's a
then the
great
flip
question.
side of that, the second part of that is what aren't you doing so well, and what steps are you taking to fix it?
So, all those are great questions. Let me speak to those. Okay. Number one, we are really good at the delivery of our program and our results to our clients, right? So we're really good at helping people create IP, develop a thought leader positioning, to be
Mm-hmm.
effective at selling, to be a great guest on podcasts, you know, to write books, to create speeches,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. We're amazing at all of that. Okay. But that's not what we do best. What we do best, better than anybody else, is we love on and believe in people at a level that nobody else does. So if someone's one of our clients, um, and they're struggling, we're going to step in. We're not going to wait for their scheduled coaching call, right? We're not going
Right,
to wait
right,
for
right.
their
Yeah,
time. We're going to step in with them, and if they come to us and ask for help, they get it. They get
right.
it. And the thing that our people say to us more than anything is, we get you guys love us and want us to win. Like, we get that. I'll tell you that Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you told them, People will
Right.
forget what you gave to them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And for us, it's our job to make people feel loved, make people feel good. You
That's
know what
so
I'm saying?
important. It's about making people comfortable. It's about being welcoming. It's not about people feeling like they're always on the hot seat, right? They always have to have the right answer, right?
Yeah.
Um, you have to be willing to, and I think one of the strongest attributes, and most people don't have it, but it breeds success, is doing something that's outside of your comfort zone, right? Always be willing to take that next step, no matter how scary it is. I mean, I think that's one of the strongest benefits to a community, especially a warm community, because it gets people in that position where they're willing to take that step because they know they have the support. They know they have someone to fall back on.
Amen. Amen. Everybody needs wonderful people around them.
Yeah.
Isolation is the bane of our existence in the post scamdemic world.
All right. So the flip side of that, what don't you think you do well in, or maybe not do well, but something you know that needs to be improved?
Well, there's a number of things we're working on to be improved. One of them is our messaging on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Candidly, it's ironic given that we teach people this, but our own messaging on social media has not been great, and we're
Right.
working on fixing that. So, in the last little while, a few days in particular, I've started to post every day, primarily on Facebook, but also on Instagram and LinkedIn as
Yep.
well. And I'm
Yeah,
posting
LinkedIn's a good
messages.
professional network. What people most people don't realize, Facebook has this stigma about kids or elderly people and, you know, posting family things, and it's not a good place for businesses to advertise. But they're 210% wrong. Facebook Meta has 52,000 data points for every person on their platform. It allows businesses like my business, your business, to target, successfully target your ideal client, and it can even go as far as geo targeting that. So it's a very powerful platform, and a lot of businesses, I should say, don't give it the credit it's due.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll read one of my posts. This is actually today's posts. Couples in business together. Charlie Kirk spoke of the importance of family and how renewing and reviving the American family was key to reclaiming Western civilization and creating a great future for all of us. He was a husband, a father, and he was building his business, albeit a nonprofit one, to serve his vision and his family. Well, my vision builds on Charlie's. I believe in family. A family that works together stays together. And I want to see a world where we create 1 billion multimillionaires, billion millionaire, hashtag billion millionaires, so that we help 1 billion families enjoy the blessings of liberty and freedom, thus creating the largest constituency for free enterprise the world has ever seen. To me, that means supporting couples in business together. You see, I work with my honey. We're a couple in business together. It's part of what makes us work as a couple. And yet, there are many challenges with being a couple in business together. Business and family life can blend in together and sometimes not in a good way. Couples working together but desire to give glory to God and to put the family at the center of their efforts, but they need people to support them as a couple and to help them keep their dreams come alive. If you're part of a couple or a family and you're in business together, I salute you. God bless you. If you need help winning as a couple and winning in business, I'm here for you. That's it. And there's a picture of me and my woman.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I've been putting a post a day like that in there. And it's short, right? That took like 30 seconds for me to read to you, but it also is powerful and it's from the heart. And to me, this is one of the things we are working on getting better at. And we've got to grow our own following. We've just not had our eye on that for quite some time, and that's going to change.
Well, the first step in fixing that is being aware of it, right? You know, if you're not aware of something, you don't know it's broken, right?
Exactly.
And that's a big step. And it's
Amen.
as part of a leader, that's always something you always got to be questioning every day. is what can I be doing better? Where am I falling short? You know, in the scheme of things, by a measurable task, you might not be falling behind. But everyone's success is driven differently, judged differently, and wanting to be aware of what you can do better is a powerful tool. That's all. Any questions I have for the podcast? Do you have anything else you want to bring up, or?
Well, I want to end off with a quick story. So, a few years back, we were introduced to a woman who had been the country head for Canada for one of the world's oldest and largest personal development firms. She was incredible. And she had brought this fellow on to help her run the company who she thought was very talented. And for about a year, they did great together. But after a year, their visions of the future started to diverge. And there was a board of directors, and they voted to side with him, and they kicked her out of the company. And people are always shocked. They go, "Oh my God, how do you get kicked out of a company you start?" Well, board of directors can do that, right? And kind of like Steve Jobs back in the day with John Scully and Apple. And a lot like Steve, she was a bit lost for a while. About 18 months, she was completely bereft. And then someone introduced her to me and my lady and said, "Hey, I think these two guys might be able to help you." We had a chat with her, and we could see this was a good person. We believed we could help her because she had all the problems that you would expect, you know, unsure of her ideal client, unsure of what to charge, nervous about selling, blah, blah, blah. Well, we loved on her. We poured into her. We believed in her. In her first month, she did 10K as a coach. In her second month, she did 20K. In her third month, she did 18K. But in her fourth month, Robert, she did $62,200. And that figure will become germane in a moment, right? So I'm in Toronto. She's in Ottawa. That's a 5-hour drive. Ottawa is our nation's capital.
Yeah.
At the time, my oldest son was 12. He played soccer, and he had a tournament in Ottawa. So I drove him to Ottawa to participate in the tournament. And I called her up. I knew she had a son his age, and I said, "Hey, do you guys want to come see a game in the tournament?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So she brought her son, and it was great. We won the tournament, which was fantastic. And then we had lunch together, and then we drove back to Toronto. She went back home. Now, a few weeks later, we had one of our quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshops. This is where we bring our existing thought leaders and new thought leaders to do a 3-day, highly curated experience to show people how to be the best version of themselves as a thought leader and make a lot more money. And like all these events, there's an enrollment opportunity, Robert. I'm sure you didn't fall off the back of the turnip truck. You've seen this, right? And our enrollment opportunity is for a year-long program that was $40,000. Okay, so a bit of money. The way that I do the enrollment opportunity is I say, "Okay, I'm going to tell you about what's next. But rather than me do it, let me ask some of the people that have been a part of our community for a while to do it." And they're like, "Bonus. All right." And usually I call on some people that, they share, and away we go. Well, Robert, this time when I said who'd like to share, expecting some hands to go up, this young woman, who I'm going to call Julie, rushed the stage and almost knocked me on my keister. I'm like, I guess you're excited to share. Come on up. And I'm standing a few feet behind her, and she's at the front of the stage, just to give her the limelight. But she's not saying anything. And then her shoulders go up like this. And I'm like, what just happened? And then I hear her. I go, wait a minute, is she crying? And then I thought, oh my God, Robert, like any red-blooded North American male faced with a crying woman, I proceeded to panic and think, what the hell did I do wrong? Why is she crying? Right. And my girlfriend, Teresa, wisely walked on stage with a box of tissues, handed them to her. And then she pulls me over, and she's still crying. But she says, "Nicky, I need to tell you something." And everyone's just hanging on every word she's saying. They said, when you and your little boy came to Ottawa to meet with me and my little boy, my little boy asked me, Mommy, 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 who are we going to go meet? They're 12-year-old, right? Full of excitement. And she's like, oh my, let me just quiet him out. She goes, oh, sweetie, we're going to go see Nicky Billou and his son. And she said, all of a sudden, he got instantly quiet. And she was like, what just happened? And then he looks at her with this very serious 12-year-old face and goes, Mommy, are we going to meet the man who saved our family?
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
brother, you may have gathered that I'm not a snowflake. You may have gathered that I'm tough as nails, and I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't cry in public. You understand? That day
Couldn't
was an
stop then.
exception.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
waterworks were going. You know, we hugged.
Yeah.
Everybody just as goes, and she keeps talking while she's crying. She goes, you know, all those months ago when I came to see you, I didn't tell you this, but I hadn't paid my mortgage 18 months, and I'm the main breadwinner in the family. My husband's an artiste. He's a photographer. Big strapping guy, but an artist, not a businessman, right? So she said, we were fighting like cats and dogs in front of our kids because we had no money to pay the mortgage. And our kids were freaking out that mom and dad were going to break up and the family was going to be no more. And then I met you, and you helped us make money, and we paid off the bank, and we didn't fight anymore. And she said, you literally helped us save our family.
Wow.
And so, brother, normally I pick on at least 3 people to share their experience. In that moment, Robert, I made an executive decision that we were not going to pick anybody else to come and share because
Exactly. How
there
are you
was
going to
no
beat
way
that?
anybody was going to top that, right? That was like, that was a 20 out of 10. So
Yeah.
Teresa, my sweetheart, starts handing out registration forms to the new people who are prospects. Now, remember, this is a high ticket price, right? 40 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Normally, there's people who go, yeah, I'm in. And they start signing up. And there's people who go, no, I'm not in. And there's people who go, well, you know, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. You got to talk to them, right? You got to talk to them. So, Robert, this was the first, and I believe to date, the only time that there was no talking required. All 8 people signed up on the spot. On the
Right.
spot. And it gets better. 2 of them had told me beforehand, we are not going to sign up for your enrollment opportunity. We know it's coming. And I said, okay. They were the first 2 people to sign up. And they came to me, and one of them said, you son of a bitch. And I'm like, come on, man, what are you calling me that for? He said, because I wasn't going to sign up for your bloody enrollment opportunity. He said, but you know what this showed me is like, you're not full of crap like most of these people. And here's the truth. I need help. I'm not getting this done on my own. And I said, well, welcome to the family. And why I share this with you is because, Robert, I believe the good Lord has given me a mission on this earth. And my mission is to be part of helping make those billion multimillionaires. And that I'm there to help the good men and women that deserve to be those multimillionaires. But for one reason or another, some's getting in their way. And my job is to get that out of their way and to hold them by the hand and take them from wherever they're stuck now to that beautiful place where all their financial dreams come true. And that's what I ask God to give me an opportunity to do every day. In every conversation I have with somebody is to show me someone else that I can be of service to. And my friend,
That's
I'm done. Mic drop.
that's a great message. I think my listeners are going to eat this up, and I want to thank you for being part of it. We're
My
all
pleasure.
better off because of it. It's a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on the show. Real pleasure and honor to be here.